How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be looking at some different things over the international break. And first up is the teams to target over the next few game weeks. There's some fixture swings coming up for the likes of Spurs, Man City, and even Manchester United, and some teams doing not so well, such as Everton and the like as well. And there's some other teams that have some good fixtures too, but we aren't really looking at those, such as like Newcastle and Burnley have some decent fixtures coming up, but not really looking at their teams all that much. But we will take a look at two teams today that we're going to be heavily looking at and should have probably a double up, probably at a minimum, going into these next few fixtures, and then maybe a triple up for those teams as well. And one other team which doesn't look good at the moment, but if their form changes or something else changes as well, they could be quite good assets going forward. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to injury news and anything in between. And lastly, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We will be doing deadline streams and preview streams back when the game weeks start as well. I also recently posted a picture of basically my schedule that I made in a spreadsheet that's going to be for the Christmas period. A lot more streams, a lot less videos, but I'll be covering all the stuff that I would do throughout the week in the videos, in the streams as well. So that's why it's important to come join us live, or you can watch the VOD after the fact as well. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for this FPL season with Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. So the team that everyone is talking about, the one with the new world-class manager and Antonio Conte, is Tottenham Hotspur, and now they have a great run of fixtures, 4 fixtures in the immediate future with an FDR rating of 2 versus Leeds at home, Burnley away, Brentford at home, and Norwich at home. This could be quite promising for the London club, who have not been doing well across the season. You can see that in the attacking numbers just above me here. Only 15 big chances total on the season, 63 shots inside the box with just under 11 non-penalty XG. Now you'll see, in comparison to other teams that we have, one of those teams is a team that we shouldn't be targeting as of yet, but we'll have a good fixture on later on, and one team that we should be targeting no matter what, because they seem to just be doing well throughout the whole season. And that's kind of how you get the players that are doing well in the teams that are typically going to be at the top of the table. But let's take a look at some of their players that we've highlighted here. Reguilon, I think, could be the best wingback option that Antonio Conte has. Emerson Royal hasn't fully convinced in terms of his defensive prowess, but Reguilon has, as well as going forward. One big chance for himself as well, 4 chances created, 2 shots inside the box, decent returns, and hopefully those could potentially increase for the 5 million defender in FPL, and he could be very, very good going forward. And the link up between him and potentially a Harry Kane, wingback to wingback, whoever the right wingback might be, because they might address that in the transfer window with somebody different as well. Son also will link up on that side and could be looking for runs in behind. And who's next on our list is Heung-min Son. I think he is the best Spurs asset to go for if you want to jump on them early. I think having just Son by himself is not going to hinder your team in any way, shape, or form. 10.3 million, I think, is a very reasonable price. 3 big chances from 3 shots inside the box, 1.69 XGI with 9 chances created. So he is their talisman now. Kane is not. Kane has been out of form, although we do have him on the graphic. I think Son is going to be the guy that is going to retain the most FPL points from Spurs' lineup. even with Conte coming in now. I think he's going to play the like small man role in the big man, small man type of system that Conte typically plays if he plays a 3-5-2. If they play a 3-4-3, I think Son could be even better because the wide forwards often will get closer to the goal. They don't necessarily have to create as much, but will be in the box more often. In a 3-5-2 system, it will rely on midfielders also creating and scoring as well, which could take away from the front two. But if you look at Inter Milan, if you look at Chelsea, if you look at the Italian, I believe it was a Euro team or the World Cup team, I can't remember. It was 2016. It would have been that would have been the Euros. Those teams, Antonio Conte had a very similar system with 3 at the back wing backs and either a front 3 or a front 2 with an extra midfielder. And all of them excelled if you played in that front line or in the front 2. And it was usually the guy who was getting in behind or starting or initiating the counterattacks and making that run in behind. And that guy is going to be Son. Just to touch on Harry Kane just a bit, he could still provide and still could be quite good. It just doesn't seem like he's just quite right yet. He hasn't had a summer off and who knows how long, and he just constantly seems to be kind of behind the pace, as it were. He still is on penalties, 12.2 million. Wouldn't necessarily go for him as of yet. If I had to pick one of two between him and Son, Son would be the one I would go for, especially versus Leeds, who are going to leave space in behind. If it was Brentford, I would say probably Son as well. And then Burnley and Norwich will probably be a bit more of a Kane type of fixture because they're going to probably park the bus. Although Norwich with their new manager, whoever that is going to be, could potentially provide something different of a test than what Daniel Farke's Norwich team was providing, which wasn't much resistance at all. But I think Spurs is definitely a team you have to look at. I'm going to probably look for Son going into this game week as well, and maybe potentially go for one of the wing backs, most likely Region. If I do, I have 2 free transfers, so I would say potentially look at that. If you have a way to get Son in one transfer, I think it's great. I think he's not going to be bad over these 4 fixtures. I can see him getting returns in at least a couple of them, maybe a double-digit hole in that. And I think Spurs are going to be better and better under Conte's management, because I think he is way more capable of getting a team to be quite attacking, very solid defensively as well, and winning football matches, which at the end of the day is what Spurs will want to do. And they're going to do it against these teams almost certainly with Conte at the helm. Now, with Spurs, we also have another team. They're from Manchester, though, and they're doing quite well this season and are looking to retain their Premiership title with Manchester City. And Manchester City don't necessarily have what would look to be the greatest fixtures on paper, but if you actually deep it, it's quite good. Everton at home, that should be quite straightforward. Everton's defense is not great at all, and they have a lot of injuries going for them at the moment, or not going for them, but going for City against Everton. Aston Villa haven't been great. They're going to be under new management as well. I think it looks like it could potentially be Steven Gerrard maybe that's coming in there, which could be quite good for them. We'll have to see kind of how they play under his tutelage. Watford, again, they look to be in a relegation battle throughout the rest of the season. West Ham could be a difficult fixture, but you would say 3 out of 4 of those are quite good. And then it's also, much like Manchester United as well, 2 teams that just have basically a sea of FDR rated 2 teams to play against for the foreseeable future. And I think some of the assets that we're looking at here, João Cancelo, one of them. If you haven't had Cancelo since he was 6 million, I was going to say 6.0, but same thing. Where have you been? He's creating chances. Yes, he was fortunate with the with the 2 assists that he got versus Manchester United. But I mean, he got 3 assists the game before in the Champions League. He just has to do it in the Premier League, and I think he definitely can. 1.57 XGI is ridiculous for a fullback. He's basically playing as a cam in some games, or like a wide attacker. Like, he is absolutely insane. So if you don't have him, I would say he would probably be on the shopping list at top priority. And look at City's stats. I mean, 30 big chances, double what Spurs had this season. 138 shots inside the box. I think that's over double what Spurs have. 21.74 non-penalty XG. City do create chances, and they will score goals if they get the opportunity to do so. so, and that's going to mainly come through the creation and guile and finishing abilities of the likes of Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden, who seem to be the two left-footed magicians that have been working the magic for City over the past several games. Bernardo Silva doesn't necessarily kind of sparkle the eye, as it were. In terms of fantasy, just 7 chances created, 6 shots inside the box. Not a crazy, kind of stat buster in the sense, but for 7.1 million, could be a mid-priced midfielder that kind of ticks over. Sometimes you'll see him play false 9. Sometimes you'll see him play in a midfield 3. Foden can do that as well, and maybe for an extra 1.2 million less, then he might be slightly better than Foden. We'll have to see over a longer run. But Phil Foden is someone that is catching the eye. He's getting more big chances than all the other City players. He's getting a lot of shots in the box. His XGI is showing that he should be getting chances to score and chances to get assists as well. And I think that he is a great asset. So if you jumped on him early, I personally did not. I think there's more returns for him to come, as well as over the Christmas period. You might see Pep start to rotate a little bit, but I think Foden is so crucial, as well as Bernardo Silva and Cancelo, to the way that they want to play. I think it'll be very hard for Pep to bench those guys, and maybe he'll rotate around them and see kind of how things go. But Pep can just play a 1-11 one day, and 2 days later, after like the Boxing Day game, he can play another completely different 11. So barring his fullbacks, where I think he might be a little bit weak in that area, so we'll have to see how Pep does that. But he hasn't been rotating nearly as much. Only made just the one change from what I remember, which was Grealish in place of Gundogan, and apart from that, he's pretty much stuck with the same team: Grealish, Jesus, and Foden, with Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne or Gundogan, Rodri in midfield. The same back four: Cancelo, Walker, Diaz, and then it was Laporte until he got sent off, and then Ederson in goal. He hasn't really rotated that much at all, and I think that's mainly due to the fact that he basically has to play Cancelo and Walker every game because Zinchenko was injured at the time, and his forwards have been doing well. He can't really complain. Jesus has found a new role on the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva has upped his game to what it was a couple of seasons ago, and Phil Foden is he's just a magical footballer. So we'll see more to come from City this season, I can assure you of that. And they're going to definitely want to retain their Premier League title and don't want the likes of Chelsea or Liverpool or maybe even West Ham to take that from them. Now, from one side of Manchester to the other, let's take a look at Manchester United, who are a team that we should potentially be looking to target later on, around 4 to 5 game weeks into the future, but maybe we should stay off them for the next coming game weeks. Now, in normal seasons gone by, United would have a good run of fixtures by their standards if you look at these next coming fixtures. Watford away in game week 12. Chelsea away is always going to be a bit tricky. Arsenal at home over the past few seasons has been fairly evenly matched, but I would say you'd probably benefit United in that sense, in terms of they have the home field with the crowd and that sort of stuff, and in seasons gone by that would have been an advantage versus them. Also, Ronaldo is pretty good versus Arsenal. And then Crystal Palace at home typically would be a fairly straightforward fixture for United, but their form and the way that they're playing at the moment is absolutely just undesirable from an FPL point of view, or even just a footballing point of view. Me as a Manchester United fan myself, I have not enjoyed over the past few weeks, and I'm very, very confused as to how the management team, because it is not just Solskjaer, as well as the board members, the CEO, the owners, how they all haven't been sacked. United's been playing that terribly. If we look at the stats over the last 4 game weeks, just 6 big chances, 27 shots inside the box, just over a goal per non-penalty XG. Not great stats if you want to be, beating teams. You're basically saying, okay, we score 1 goal. The team scores another. If the team scores 1 goal, we're drawing. The team scores 2, we're going to be hard pressed to even get a draw out of this game at all. But I think United just need to stick to their guns in terms of what they have at their disposal. Don't try to go defensive. Use your attacking assets. Try to win the game 5-4 if you have to. And don't try to just hold on for a 0-0 and try to nick it 1-0. Clean sheets are overrated anyway. Just try to win the game 5-4. Do what Klopp did in that season where they got 97 points. They just barely missed out to an excellent Manchester City team. Klopp knew that his defense wasn't as good as what it could potentially be, but they got really close because their attack was that good. And I think with these plethora of attacking assets, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, I didn't even put on Paul Pogba, Jadon Sancho, Jesse Lingard, Luke Shaw's delivery from the back as well. They have so many talented players, and that's not even including some of the players that have been good in seasons gone by, like Juan Mata, or youngsters like Ahmed Diallo or Palestri, or even Donny van der Beek, who hasn't played very much at all. They have so many good players that were at one point in their national sides. Marcus Rashford was injured for the majority of last season, was playing through it, and he looks to be revitalized. He's gotten 2 goals in the first 2 starts, or the first 2 appearances that he had when he played. He's got 2 big chances, 4 shots in the box, 0.79 XGI. He is quite clinical, Marcus Rashford, when he gets in behind, and that's typically what he wants to be able to do. I think he had a bit of a stomach bug or something like that, so he shouldn't even have potentially played in the Manchester derby, but I think he was probably like, if you need me, I can come on. But he would have probably been the ideal player to get in behind City's backline, and I think United really missed that, and I think they could look to him out on that left-hand side or in the front too if they're going to stick with that formation. Bruno Fernandes has tailed off in terms of his actual goal-scoring ability massively. United haven't got a penalty in quite a while. Funny how that kind of works. But he still is creating chances. 14 chances created over the last 4 game weeks. Basically, if Bruno Fernandes doesn't create something, United don't score. And if it doesn't go to Ronaldo, they don't score. So if it's not Bruno Fernandes to Ronaldo, they don't score. Ronaldo, 1 big chance, 3 chances created, 9 shots inside the box, 1.16 XGI. If Ronaldo gets a chance, he typically scores in most cases. The only chance that he had versus Man City was the weak foot volley that he had to basically hit one time, because otherwise he wasn't going to be able to control it and then take the shot when it was on the floor. And it was somewhat at Ederson, which is a bit unfortunate because it is a very difficult technique to do. The goal versus Spurs was excellent. The 2 goals versus Atalanta were world class. The guy is still ridiculous even at his age, and for 12.4 million could be a captaincy option if he's able to get the service that he rightfully deserves. However, I think it's a wait and see on United, see how they do versus Watford, Chelsea, and Arsenal. I think that will be kind of the gauge, the test. Now that Rashford's fit, Fernandes he's always fully fit. Ronaldo is, playing as well as he possibly can with the service he's getting. Basically, if you give Ronaldo 2 chances a game, he scores at least 1 of them in a United shirt at the moment. He is doing that well. He just needs more chances, and if he gets more chances, he could be scoring a hat-trick every game because we know he's that lethal. He isn't the all-time goal scorer ever for a reason. So, yeah, he is doing very, very well. So, hopefully, my team can pick it up. But I'm not necessarily counting on it with the management that is in charge at the moment, because it just seems like the club as a whole kind of wet weather, downpour, crisis type of, kind of atmosphere surrounding the club. So it's definitely a wait and see. If a new manager comes in, maybe things will change. If there's a change at board level, which is probably even better than a manager change, that might make things even better as well. So, but I'm going to wait and see on that. I'm not too hopeful on that front. But on paper, Ronaldo and Fernandes and Rashford look to be the main guys to spur United ahead if they want to get those moments of brilliance to help them get some FPL points for our teams. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which teams are you looking to target? Which teams are you looking to stay away from in the next 4 game weeks? And that is going to do it for our Game Week 12 edition of Teams to Target. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to injury news and anything in between. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We usually leave a link, or a pinned comment rather, down below in the comments so that you can see when the next stream is going to be, and those will be back up next week leading up to Game Week 12. And lastly, use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout membership area. It's going to have a bunch of different tools that are going to help you out, and mainly the Opta driven stats tables, which you saw in this video and many other videos that I do as well. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.